So another thing about the Scandi short Versatip with a little sink tip and or a moderate sink tip, you know, one that'll get the job done, and a smaller fly is really nice to do touch and go or waterborne cast with. My choice is a snake roll for a downstream wind, one that's going from upstream to downstream. This thing is like a thing that casts really good in downstream wind. See, I'm backed up against the brush. There's a tree right there. So if I pitch my fly way out there, boom, I can throw my anchor way in front and this line will still shoot lasers. Have I said that one enough? It really shoots lasers. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. That was not a laser. It is a beautiful day out here on the river after a bitter cold spell, and I'm still fishing for summer fish. Bad news though, I broke my beloved 5.6 red band custom, my red band fly rod. Broke it through owner misuse and abuse. It wasn't the rod's fault. So I got Dave on the horn, and he's gonna get me going again. In the meanwhile, I grabbed my 12-foot 7-inch 7/8 Beulah Classic, and this is a really nice rod. It's a really sweet Scandi setup. And I grabbed my Rio Scandi short body, and this is a brilliant fly line. The only problem I have with it is that if you get a little bit too big of a tip or fly, maybe it's just the fly, I don't know, but it's just a little undergun. Of course, it is a chopped Scandi head. It's a Scandi head with 10 feet of the front end chopped off and looped, so you can put the floating tip back on, or you can put sink tips on. And I have heard guys say that they fish T14 with it, blah blah. I don't want to do anything that's just not super fun, so I stick with like a OPST run, I think it is. It's about 12 feet and it's either 96 or 112 grains, I can't remember, but it's a super sweet sink tip and it casts pretty nice on the Rio Scandi short body. The only thing is, yesterday I was fishing a fly with a little bit of fluff. You know, it wasn't real sparse, not a heavy fly, a really good fly. It's a top secret fly. You have to go to Fin and Fire and they'll get you set up. It was a little too much for me to cast. I mean, I fished it no problem, but it wasn't perfect. So I went home, and this morning tied up this little bit sparser Marabou and flash fly, and it casts really nice on this thing, and it really made me realize what an excellent line this Scandi short Versatip is. It was just a blizzard. It was a hurricane out here. There was like a heavy spray blowing off the rocks and the rapids in the river. It was just brutal out here. But with this lighter fly and a sink tip, I was astonished at how great this thing casted in the wind. So although it's not like a Skagit head, it did just work awesome in the wind. Trade-off is even though it's a Scandi head and it's rear weighted. It's got a fat rear end, and it gets nice and skinny in the front, even to the point where it's chopped and looped. Where it's looped on the skinny end is still really skinny for quite a ways, and so that's why it won't turn over the heavy gear as easily. But the trade-off is it seems to me that there's so much skinny line up to the point to where the sink tip loops on that it fishes pretty deep, probably deeper than a Skagit head. Like you put a same sink tip on a Skagit head, and I think this one, because it's so skinny for the end of it, it seems to fish pretty deep. And so the trade-off is you can cast a lighter sink tip, but it'll get down just as deep. I think I just said that. I'm not editing this, by the way. The same sink tip on a Skagit head will not sink as deep. I don't have empirical data. I'm just kind of going off of what I've heard and what I think I might be experiencing. And but there is the slight possibility that I'm full of crap. So you gotta keep that in mind. Anyway, so it's a little bit lighter, easier to cast fly. Think hobo spay. Hobo spay would be ideal. This one I made, it's about like a hobo spay. It doesn't have this red thing on front. I just balled up my thread for the head to kind of, you know how if you wrap a big head on your marabou fly, the idea is that it'll push water and make your marabou feathers and stuff swim more. You know how they say that? Yeah, it doesn't work. Didn't work for me. This thing just like is not really impressive in the water. I should have put a dubbing ball behind the fluffy part, and pooched it out a little bit. We'll get to that later. But nevertheless, it swims okay to catch something. It casts pretty good, and this line, the way it's designed from fat to skinny, it just rolls out. And in the wind, I was amazed at how far in front of me I could get my anchor and then whip it around fast, and it was just throwing just like super pointy arrows, lasers, just darts. It was very impressive. So the fact that you put a little smaller fly on, little lighter tip, it still performs great. It still fishes deep. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. On sale for free today, my 2 cents. Ha, get it? Either my camera's about to fall over or my tripod is. Things I don't go through for you guys.